everyone, welcome to my channel, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we will be talking about pulling and understanding when you should pull and when you should probably skip the banner. In this video, we'll be covering about 9, I believe, reasons why you should not pull on a banner, but these could all be reversed into reasons you should pull on a banner. So if you have the opposite of this, it's basically just saying you should pull on the banner, essentially. But it's not always the case. So just take this with a grain of salt. If you really, really, really want to pull in a banner, don't take this personally. I'm not stopping anyone. I'm just giving you advice. So I hope you all enjoy it, and let's get straight to it. So my first reason is if you don't like the character's playstyle, this is quite obvious, but that is definitely a don't pull. I think the playstyle is one of the most important things to deciding if you want to pull for a character. Not the meta, not the just if you enjoy fighting as them and playing them as a character, then it's probably a good idea to pull for them. But if you do not like the way they play, that is a huge reason not to pull. And I know that's kind of obvious, but I just wanted to bring it up quickly because I feel like some people don't take it as seriously as if they maybe like the character's personality. I tend to believe that playstyle is one of the more important things when it comes to deciding if you're going to pull for a character. The second reason is if you don't have a team for them and are not willing to make a team to actually use them. While having a character can be nice, if you're not using them, it kind of defeats the purpose. So unless you have some sort of use for them in a team or in any circumstance whatsoever, exploration, whatever, having a use for them is really important because otherwise you're just never going to use them and there's no point in having them if you're never going to use them, you know? So just make sure you have a use for them, whether it be in a team, in a exploration, whatever. My next piece of advice is if you're watching this video during the character's banner, you might be better off skipping. Just maybe. This is very much just it depends when you're watching it. But if you're humming and hawing about it, this is something to consider because if you're watching it pre the character's banner, it means you're more likely to be thinking about this character prior to their banner. A lot of the time when a character comes out, you get really excited, even if you don't want them, or if you didn't want them, or you weren't planning on pulling for them, and then you get them and you regret pulling them. That's how I tend to be, at least personally. So make sure to take that into consideration. If you want to pull for a character during their banner and you only started wanting to pull for them during their banner, it's probably not the best idea. Now, this is more for if you do want to pull for the character, if you have done this, is if you've pre-farmed for them. And that does not mean you should pre-farm them. That means if you have pre-farmed for them, it's a good sign that you were thinking about them prior to their banner, and this goes along with the third thing, where if you have been thinking about them for longer than the banner has been up for, that's a good sign. That's just because it shows that you're not just excited, oh, there's a new character, I want to pull. So make sure if you have pre-farmed, do those pulls. It doesn't hurt. The fifth reason why you shouldn't pull for a character is if you're only pulling because you have the character's weapon. If you're pulling for the character because you already have their weapon, this could, maybe you also want the character, but if you're only pulling because you have the character's weapon, it's not the best idea. I don't think the weapon should have any consideration into whether or not you pull for the character or not, so just don't let that be a deciding factor in any way, shape, or form, because the weapon, it can go on other characters, but if you pull that character, you're wasting your Primogems if you'd never used them or never actually wanted them. The sixth piece of the sixth piece of advice. The sixth piece. Oh my gosh. The sixth piece of advice I have is if you have other characters you want to pull for, and this is the character's first banner, then it's maybe best to pull for the other character and then wait for the rerun. For example, right now Lowen is on banner. It's his first release. It's his release, so he just came out, and we also have Mavuika on the banner. If I wanted Mavuika and Lowen, I'd probably want to pull for Mavuika because Lowen is very much going to rerun very quickly because he's a new character and they tend to rerun the new characters sooner than the old characters because more people have them at that point. So if you have two characters on the same banner, or maybe the next patch or next half or whatever that you want two characters from, and you know you won't have enough for both, get the one that you know is going to be harder to get on reruns. It's like the new characters will always rerun faster. The next piece of advice I have is if you haven't done the trial yet, try considering doing that first. It it really does give you a vibe of the character. Like, I was planning on pulling for Neuvillette at one point when his first I was planning on pulling for Neuvillette when his first banner came out, and I was like, okay, well, let me just try out really quickly. And as much as I liked his playstyle, I thought it was quite fun. It wasn't my favorite, but it was fun. I also realized his design wasn't really something I was interested in. So I ended up not pulling for him. I'm really glad I did because I would not use him nowadays. I would never have used him. So I'm really glad I didn't pull for him because I didn't like his design. I was not my favorite. I do love him as a character, but it just his design was not my thing. So make sure you're doing the trial to feel for playstyle and for design because you're not really going to see the character's design as well if you're just looking at their banner. So make sure to do their trial to get their playstyle and design to make sure you can feel that out. The next reason you should not pull on a banner is if you decided you want the character during their banner's runtime, because honestly, this goes back again to a few of the previous tips. If you decide to pull for a character during their banner's runtime, it really doesn't say much if you really want the character, because people get excited when there's a character on banner because there's one, it's a new character, two, it's someone to pull for, and three, we all have gambling addictions. So that's definitely something to consider, and I would be very careful with that. The last thing I want to mention is if you like the character's personality more than their design, it's not always the best idea. I know personality and character as like is normally more important in real life. Like someone's character and personality is often more important in real life, but in a game, you're not talking to them like a friend. You're playing as them, you're fighting with them, you're looking at their design. You're not talking to them like a real person because they're not a real person, they're a character. So, personality should really come after design and playstyle, so make sure to take that into consideration when you're pulling, because personality isn't going to get you to actually play them. What's going to get you to play them is their playstyle and their design, because everyone loves a good design and a good playstyle. But don't worry, I'm not saying personality is a bad thing. Personality is definitely a plus. And this may not be the same for everyone. I just find if I like a character's personality, I really like Farzan's backstory and stuff, but I don't really care for her design or her playstyle. I just use her for Wanderer, and I don't even play Wanderer much anymore, so she's just kind of benched right now. So definitely take that into consideration. And with that, those are all the pieces of advice I have for now. I will also link a quiz that I made in the description or the comments, one of the two, where it's just a quiz that I made where you can answer some questions and it'll tell you if you should pull or not. It's not 100% accurate. If you still want to pull after doing the quiz and it tells you no, don't force yourself not to pull. If you think you want to pull, pull. I'm not stopping you. But this will hopefully help you decide whether or not to pull so you can see how that goes. And if this video helped you at all, please leave a like, and I hope you enjoyed. And I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time, okay? Bye-bye!